All right, shalom, shalom, mighty Shabbat shalom. I'm going to start by giving infinite honors and praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Harachak Wadash. That's the Heavenly Father through His only begotten Son, by their true Hebrew names. Double honors to my teachers, the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, who rule well and are worthy of their double honors. Peace and blessings to you, Akim, pushing out this truth across the four corners during these last seconds of time. Kwam Yashala, mighty Shabbat Shalom. This lesson is entitled Motb Update. The United States brain implant company tests apparent first in China. Lord willing, this message be edifying. And this is an article from End Time Headlines entitled U.S. brain implant company tests apparent first in China. All right, which reads, Cambridge-based Axoft is taking its brain implant tech on a very global tour. The Harvard-bred startup announced this week that it temporarily implanted its soft neuroprobe in a patient in Shanghai while also closing a $55 million Series A funding round. The disclosure stands out since the U.S. firms rarely talk publicly about human testing partnerships in China. And the scriptures tell us this. This is the book of Revelation, chapter 13, and I'll start at 11. And it says, And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. And this beast is America. Those two horns represent the Republicans and the Democrats, which goes back to the patricians and the plebeians. All right. The modern day patricians will be the Republicans. The modern day plebeians will be the Democrats. All right. That spake as a dragon is going through those draconian laws, which are going to be forcefully implemented. All right. In this society. All right. To ultimately usher in the Motb as it reads in Revelation 13 and 16. So verse 12 reads, And he exercised all the power of the first beast before him, and causeth the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. Right, and America ultimately pushes that Roman way unto the rest of the earth. That first beast was the ancient Roman Empire, and America exercises all the power of the ancient Roman Empire through its Senate House. All right, like we read in the 11th verse. All right, through its Democratic Party, Republican Party. All right. Two wings, the left and the right, but it's the same bird going into the same direction, which is ultimately the Motb, a cashless society, draconian laws, a CBDC system, central banking digital currency, all right, spearheaded by the Charagma, which we're going to get into. So it says, verse 13, And he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men. And ultimately this happened because those great wonders, Esau, Edom, made that fire come down from heaven in the form of those two atomic bombs dropped during World War II. All right, I believe Fat Man and Little Boy. Okay. And ultimately, in general, America and NATO's military might. All right, which they even forced throughout the planet Earth. But this system, all right, in particular, all right, is going to ultimately enforce that Motb, which we're going into in this article here as it reads, the U.S. B implant company test apparent first in China. All right. And as it says here, Cambridge-based Axoft is taking its brain implant tech, which tech stands for technology. All right. Scriptures say in the book of 2 Thessalonians that Esau Edom comes after the working of Satan with signs and power and working miracles. Okay. And Esau Edom has the power to do that on the planet Earth. The Lord has given him that power. That's a part of his blessing. All right. And the word technology goes into a fabricated doctrine. The word tech means fabricated or weaved. Ology goes into a doctrine, man. All right. The study of something. Okay. A fabricated study. All right. A false study. That's what technology is. All right. It's left-handed. The word left means sinister. So it says back in Revelation 13 and 14, it says, And deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth, that they should make an image to the beast, which had the wound by a sword and did live. Right, and those miracles are going into Esau Edom's pseudoscience, which this brain implant, all right, as it says here, Axoff plans to use the cash to expand clinical trials and build out manufacturing capacity. All right, so this is not the end. This is not just an experiment. All right, they're going to roll this out throughout the whole entire earth. All right, specifically here in America, where you're about to have the American dollar. All right, the U.S. currency is going to crash. They're going to usher in a digital dollar. All right, in order to get your finances, in order to go into your banks, all right, tap into your funds, okay, you're going to have the charagma inside of you, man, all right? This is biblical prophecy, okay, right before your very eyes. There's no getting away from this, all right? These things that we're seeing in the earth, the economy crash being imminent, that's all pointing to the Motb, all right? These nations assembling themselves against the U.S. dollar in the forms of the BRICS nations. All right. That's all pointing to the Motb being implemented. And not only just implemented, but forcefully implemented. All right. Like it went into in Revelation, spake as a dragon. When you go into a word dragon, it goes into draconian laws, man. All right. It says, in a company press release carried by Biospace, the firm spotlighted its soft fluoride material and said its implants have been used temporarily in 11 patients so far. All right. So it's going to go from 11 to 11,000. All right. Hundreds of thousands, millions. All right. Of people are going to have this charagma inside of them, man. All right. And this is this didn't just come out of thin air. Esau Edom's been working towards this agenda with his pseudoscience for quite some time now. But guess what you've had out on the highways and byways for quite some time now? The prophecy of Yahweh Shem Yahushua that have been prophesying of Revelation 13 and 16, the charagma, the Motb. So it says Revelation 13 and 14 again, and deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles, which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth, that they should make an image to the beast, which had the wound by a sword and did live. And like we said, those miracles are the pseudoscience, witchcraft, sorcery that Esau Edom uses. That image is the system, all right? Economically, politically, military aspects of the system, which ultimately go back to that dragon Rome, okay? And it says, matter of fact, just to back that up, let's go to 2 Thessalonians. Because it says, even him who comes after the working of Satan, all right? This is a nation of people, these wicked elites, all right, they're after the working of Satan, all right? Spiritual demon Satan, the left-handed angel or the left-hand son of God, because Satan is controlled by Yahweh Shem Yahushua, just like it goes into in Job. It says, in the day when the sons of God came up, all right, Satan was there among them. Why? Because Satan is a son of God, just on the left-hand side, man. All right, he does the will of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. And these wicked elites, chiefly Amalek, these international banking families, all right, they're being controlled by the spiritual demon Satan. So it says 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, and I'll get to the point. Let's see. 2 Thessalonians 2 and 7, for the mystery of iniquity doth already work. Only he who now let it will let until he be taken out of the way. All right, and that he who's now letting is Yahweh Shem Yahushua. All right, and that he that's going to be taken out of the way is the wicked Esau Edom. So the Lord is letting Esau Edom fulfill his agenda so prophecy could be fulfilled. All right, because the Lord ultimately says, like it says in Revelation the 16th chapter, those that take the charagma, a grievous sword, a malignant sword is going to fall upon them. All right, and that's prophecy. But the charagma has to be implemented first for people to take it. OK, so the Lord's going to let Esau Edom work his work until he's taken out of the way. All right, that's all a part of prophecy. OK, so it says, verse 8, and then shall that wicked be revealed, whom the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth and shall destroy with the brightness of his coming. And that's through Yahweh Shai, whom the world ain't really calls Jesus Christ, and the prophets, man. All right, by the mouth of these prophets. OK, like it says in Luke 1 and around the 70th verse. All right, by the mouth of the prophets since the world began. All right. It says in Revelation, the 19th chapter, the testimony of Yahweh Shai is the spirit of prophecy, man. So it says, verse 9, even him whose coming is after the working of Satan. See, his coming is after the working of Satan with all power and signs and lying wonders. And I want to get that word working, but I'm going to read from the NLT from 7 on down. It says, 2 Thessalonians 2 and 7 through 9 in the NLT. It says, for this lawlessness is already at work, and it will remain secret until the one who is holding it back steps out of the way, which is Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, man. Then the man of lawlessness, okay, that man of lawlessness, that man of sin, Esau Edom, the accuser of our brethren, is cast down. It says, will be revealed, but the Lord Yahushua will slay him with the breath of his mouth and destroy him by the splendor of his coming, just like it says in 2 Ezra the 13th chapter. All right. It says he lifted up not any sword nor instrument of war. All right. But I perceive sparks and tempests. OK, so Yahushua is not going to lift up any sword or instrument of war to deal with these nations' militaries, man, in the valley of Yahushua. All right. You shall be brought to the prince of princes and broken without hand. Verse 9, it says, this man will come to do the work of Satan with counterfeit power and signs and miracles. You see? And this is a part of it. This is all counterfeit here, man. All right. This C-hip technology is all counterfeit. Okay. It's left hand pseudoscience. The word pseudo means false. Science goes into knowledge. It's false knowledge. Okay. He's trying to show himself as if he is Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, like it goes into the book of Ezekiel. All right. Thou sit in the seat as if thou art God, but thou art only a man. Okay. This man will come to do the work of Satan with counterfeit power and signs and miracles. Counterfeit, man. All right. And then nowhere in the society will Esau Edom let you pass with counterfeit money. So why would Yahweh Bashim Yahushua let him pass with counterfeit power on the earth, man? He's going to be taken down. So it says, verse 10, he will use every kind of evil deception to fool those on their way to destruction because they refuse to love and accept the truth that will save them, right? And that evil deception is rooted in his pseudoscience, his technology, which we said goes into a false study, a fabricated study. So let's get that word working.
Strong's G 1753.
Energaya, it says working efficiency. In the New Testament, used only of superhuman power, whether of God or of the devil, right? So Esau Edom on the left-hand side, he's been given that superhuman power, right? He's been given that pseudoscience, that AI, that technology on the left-hand side to deceive the earth by the means of those miracles, all right? But it's a left-handed miracle, all right? It's a sinister miracle. The word left goes into sinister, all right? So let's go back to Revelations chapter 13, verse 16. It says, verse 15, Salakia. It says, and he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as will not worship the image of the beast should be killed. Right. So those that don't follow this system or take that charagma or worship the image of the society, the image of the beast, they're going to be killed or X'd out of society, man. OK. Point blank, period. Like it's going to go into in the 16th verse. It says, and he caused it all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a charagma, which the word goes into in the Greek. It says in their right hand or in their foreheads. And when you get into this word charagma, you also have root words. You got, I believe, karax, which karax goes into the syringe that the C-hip puts into you. And then you got also the other one is it's grapho. All right, which pretty much is going to be the biometric data that's on the C-hip. Okay, so it says, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. Right. So you're not going to be able to go and get the money out your bank account, pay your bills. All right, go into these establishments because they're all going to be rooted in C-hip technology. OK, and they're already introducing this to the society. All right, in different ways. You got tap to pay, you got pay with your palm, okay? So they're massaging this technology into the backs of you Americans, all right? And when that major Black Swan event comes, that's going to crash this society, all right? And usher in this digital currency, a cashless society, all right? People are going to be wrapped around buildings to take this, man, okay? So let's get that charagma. Charagma. It says a stamp and imprinted mark. Of the mark stamped on the forehead or the right hand as the badge of the followers of the anti-Mashiach. And the anti-Mashiach is this system, okay? That's likened onto this system, man. The system is the anti-Mashiach, all right? But like it says, on the forehead, which this article is going into, the brain hip, okay? This is a part of it, all right? This is a part of Esau's left-handed miracles. People that have different brain injuries, mental illnesses, can't speak, okay? Esau Edom's going to use this technology and make it seem like it's beneficial for the society and beneficial for those individuals, and people are going to be taking it, man. All right? But this is the Motb. This is biblical prophecy. It says, the mark branded upon horses, a thing carved, sculpture, graven work. It says of idolatrous images. It says a scratch or etching, stamped as a badge of servitude, or sculptured figure, statue, graven, mark, right? It says here the mark branded upon horses, because Esau Edom, he sees you people as useless eaters, man. All right, so he's gonna prick you, just like back in the ancient world, right? You had masters, owners, they bore their servants with a mark, all right? A awl, okay? I believe it's a awl, okay? And this is going to be, like Apostle Tahar goes into, this is a digital awl, man, all right? So it says, Revelation 13 and 16, I'll read down to 18, it says, and he caused it all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a charagma in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the charagma, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Here's wisdom, let him that had understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666, right? 666. And then when you divide 2/3, because the Lord says 2/3 will be destroyed for a lack of knowledge. When you divide 2/3, 2 divided by 3, what do you get? 0.6666, because 2/3 of the Lord's chosen people are going to take this charagma. But the Lord says in the book of Romans, I believe he says he reserved 7,000 that have not bowed to the image of Baal, man. This is Romans 11:4. But what said the answer of God, our power unto him? I have reserved to myself 7,000 men, which 7 goes into completion. A complete amount of men is talking about the hopeful elect, who have not bowed the knee to the image of Baal. Verse 5, even so then at this present time also there's a remnant according to the election of grace, right? So ultimately, don't take this charagma, man, all right? The men of the Lord have been pushing not to take this, but ultimately the elect are going to take this or bow to the image of Baal, which is likened onto this system, man. The image of this beast system, man, all right? America and its European allies, America, NATO, and the EU, man, okay? So Lord willing, this message, this update was edifying. I'm going to give infinite honors and praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Harachak, Wadash. Double honors to my teachers, the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and blessings until next time. Kwam Yashala. Mighty Shabbat Shalom.